Hello, and welcome to a gut reaction review, meaning I've just seen a film and I'm doing a very quick review on it. It would be a slightly longer review because I've got my good buddy and co-hosting this review with me, Blue Collar Loser. Good to see you back in the room.
Yes.
Yeah, thanks for letting me pop on your House of Dragons stream.
Yeah. No, that's it, man. Everyone's time's always against us, man.
With what's the name, Panda Touche or something?
Trash Panda.
Trash Panda, that was it. Yeah.
What's my nephew, because he said she looks like Rocket Raccoon. So my nephew likes Guardians of the Galaxy. So he's like Susan, you're a Trash Panda.
Okay, so Trash Panda is your sister,
cousin. But my nephew calls her is Aunt Susan, but he loves Guardians of the Galaxy, so he called it a Trash Panda, Rocket Raccoon.
Right. Excellent. Well, we're going to talk about
just soda, Dave. I'm fresh at the theater, Dave. So just soda for now.
I'm still moderating on open bar here, so I'm gonna just do one round of subscribe to blah blah, and then I'll.
Well, to chat soon, because I always promote Regal. Regal had these Xenomorph popcorn buckets. I call it the first showing that was in IMAX, and I go there to the theater. I like the collectibles with the Deadpool and Wolverine. I'm like, hey, can I buy a Xenomorph popcorn bucket? We're sold out. I'm like, sold out? I got here a half hour early. The theater was half full, and you're sold out of popcorn buckets. How it just opened in 20 minutes? Like, man, so
you got a bucket.
Yeah, just mad. Like it's a Xenomorph head, Lance. Come on,
yeah. Hey, I wanted that one myself.
Yeah.
So we're here to talk about Alien Romulus. Now, I'm going to put a few caveats at the beginning of this. So I deliberately didn't watch any. Well, I caught the beginning of the trailer and then I immediately switched it off because I've learned not to watch trailers now, especially for the big IP movies. If you're lucky, they don't show you too much if you're lucky, but more often than not they show you way too much. So I deliberately avoided trailers for this. They dropped about 3 different trailers. I just didn't watch any of them. I've only been to the cinema to see Horizon and Inside Out in the recent months, and neither of those had the Romulus trailer. Good to see Jacob Ironside. Jacob, if you want to come on, you can come on. If I don't know if you've seen the film. Drew Gordon says we can spoil it now. Yeah, because I was trying not to do spoilers. I will prefix any spoilers just in case for anyone. They can quickly put us on mute and I'll say spoilers beforehand. I have just been on open bar. Drinker asked me to come on, give my thoughts, which was pretty cool of him. So yeah, and let's just talk about the film briefly. So it's directed by Fede Alvarez, who did Don't Breathe and The Evil Dead. It's got Ridley Scott's fingerprints on it.
Producer.
Yeah, I mean you can see his influence on it. I would argue. It stars a relatively unknown cast. Kaylee Spaney, who plays Rain, who's the lead. David Johnson, who plays Andy, who's the synthetic, and that's not a spoiler really because you're going to learn that within about 2 minutes of watching the movie.
Yeah.
Archie Rennox, who plays Tyler. Isabel Merced, who plays Kay. Spike Fern, who plays Bourne. I didn't even know that was that character's name, by the way. And Eileen Wu, who plays Navarro. So these are your 6 principals, basically. Then we also have a guest cameo from Ian Holm, who played Ash in the original Alien. That is a spoiler.
I know. I'm pissed. IMDb. What the hell, guys? Like,
yeah. I mean, they probably should have kept that off. I think.
Yeah. I mean, well, it's there, so it's out there.
I do think Blomkamp's film would have been better. I'm going to say that now. Anyway, so somebody's saying The Little Girl from Pacific Rim 2, which I've not seen, and Transformers 5, which I've also not seen. Don't watch Don't watch naff sequels, man. So Callie Speeney, just to give a bit of background on the abilities of these people, had a very significant role in Civil War. She was the main character in Civil War. She was in of Mayor of Easttown, which is a pretty good show if you haven't seen it.
Yeah.
She was in Vice. I have seen that movie. Pacific Rim Uprising, right? Okay, was her sort of first big role. So she's, pretty experienced actress. And she is the lead. And we'll talk about her more in a minute. David Johnson, I would argue, is probably the best actor of the six.
Yes, 100% Andy. He's my favorite part of this movie.
Yeah, this is going to sound nuts. He's my favorite and least favorite part of the film, all rolled into one. I think they overused him. They overused the trait that they come with him. Most people will remember him from Rye Lane. I did a gut reaction review of Rye Lane. He was the lead in that, and I really liked him in Rye Lane. I thought he was really good. This is a very significant role for him. He's still relatively young in his acting career, and I have to say he did really well with the role. It's a complicated role, and not one that an inexperienced actor could have handled. But he did a really good job. So hats off to him. Then we've got Archie Renaud as Tyler, sort of generic handsome chap. Now, he grew up in the same town as me. Grew up in Kingston upon Thames. So I don't know how old he is. He was born in 97. Okay, so he wouldn't have come to the cinema when I was working there because I had fled the coop. But he's from my hometown. So I wonder which school he went to. He might have gone to my school. Who knows? He's all right. His character is so bland in the film.
Yeah, I agree.
He's just like generic, handsome.
He's red shirt. Come on.
Generic, handsome, good guy, red shirt. And then this guy is generic, extremely annoying, bad guy, red shirt. And we'll talk about him as well in a minute. He's done a fair bit of work in the Amazing Mr. Blunden movie, the remake, totally unnecessary remake. And then we have Eileen Wu, who's only got 3 credits. This is really her first big role. It's a nothing role. They don't do anything with the character.
So you haven't watched any trailers at all, Lance, before watching this?
No.
Okay, yeah, well, because she's in a trailer. She's in a trailer, and just it's
I mean, there wasn't anything in the trailer that wasn't in the movie, I'm guessing.
Oh no, I'm just saying, like, well, her fate is already in the trailer, so she's the one who gets it. That's written in the trailer. So like you said, spoiler alert. But that's
right.
Yeah.
I mean, as soon as I saw the shot of the facehuggers running along the corridor, which is pretty early on, as soon as I saw that shot, I switched the trailer off because I didn't want to know that there was a scene with facehuggers running along a corridor. I'd rather find that out watching the film.
Yeah.
And that's what's so great about the Alien and Aliens trailers. They sort of show you everything and nothing at the same time. Very clever.
Yeah.
And I think they should have done a very similar trailer for this, but they didn't.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's obviously it's not even a spoiler to say you have an alien film. You're gonna have face huggers and chest bursters. That's the franchise.
You just don't want to know when they're coming.
Yeah, true.
You don't want to know who they're going to attack. You don't want to know who's going to get face hugged. So I do want one of these new white pulse rifles, by the way. They were very cool. But all right. So the basic plot is it's on the fringes of space on a really horrible Weyland-Yutani cake and bake colony with a big power, one of the power generator things from Aliens. It's a mining colony. Life there is very hard. Everybody's always looking to earn enough hours to get off the colony. Our main protagonist, Rain, has just earned enough hours. She goes to get, I guess, what you would call her documentation to go off world. Yeah. And she finds out that the hours required have been extended, so she needs to work for another 5 to 6 years to get off the planet.
More like prison.
So it's sort of that. I mean, that wasn't properly explored, but it sort of sets up her motivation for wanting to get off the planet. Then the plot sort of goes a bit awry, in my opinion, because she hangs out with a load of young friends, all of whom hate her brother because he's a synthetic. And there is a subplot to why that is, and it's fine. It sounds plausible. It's okay. But they own their own cargo haul spaceship.
It seemed like that, yeah. Like her friends are like, they're the ones who are
which can't do. I presume its job is to go up and do stuff in the atmosphere on the rings on the planet and then come back down again. That's its primary function.
Yes, that's
so it doesn't have any cryopods, and they've detected a signal which, despite the planet having incredibly thick bureaucracy and quite rigid organization, no one else on this planet appears to have detected this signal, which I just found was like nonsense. There definitely should have been another team going on board the ship, an official like Weyland-Yutani team. I think that would have added something to the plot that would have been really good, and they could have all got wiped out like really quickly. So no one else knows that this space station has drifted into the orbit of the planet, and they detect it, and they decide to go up and get the cryogenic freezers from this, basically salvage them, put them onto their own ship, and then use them to do the long haul to these free colonies and another system where life is supposed to be a lot better. They don't really know if it's any better. They just and that's the plot. And of course, they go on board and shit happens. Alien shit happens.
Yeah. Well, also too, they also Andy. They need Andy because, like you said, and after the third minute, he's a synthetic because he has seizures, and plus, he's bleeding white liquid, so he's a synthetic. And
we know he's a synthetic fairly early on.
But they need Andy too.
Oh yeah, that's a big plot point. That's right. They need Andy because he's an old Weyland-Yutani robot, and he's going to be able to access the systems and the doors and things like that they can't. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to board the ship.
Exactly.
So Andy, who's on the right here, who's played by Wil Johnson, is kind of crucial to the plot on that basis. And that's really the story. And they go on board the ship, and lots of shit happens. Needless to say, there's aliens and stuff. And So when you came out the cinema, Blue, what was your initial gut reaction?
Well, initial gut reaction, Lance, like, as you know, with the marketing, it's been huge. What Fede Alvarez has been saying, he put a very huge focus on practical effects. You can tell within the first 5 minutes of this film, this guy definitely watched Aliens. This feels like what it is. It's like Alien 1.5. They have like the old 80s like computers. They have like the way the technology feels very alien. It doesn't feel like 2024. No one has smartphones. No one has like super Star Trek, communicators. It looks like Alien 1.5. And definitely, and this is marketing 101, the face huggers are all prosthetics. They're all like actually digital robots you created. Right there, the IMDb showed all the xenomorphs are all practical. They're guys in suits and animatronics. So
they had a full-size animatronic one, or guys in suits. There are some CG shots of aliens in it.
Of course, yeah,
there are some, but mostly. Okay, yeah. So you came out saying, "Hey, they used a lot of practical effects." What else were you thinking when you came out the cinema?
Definitely, and this, the third act is going to piss off a lot of people. I can already see it. I was happy to see Ian Holmes come back as not the same character, obviously different android.
Spoiler alert. And here's that raises a whole lot of interesting questions, because Ian Holm, the actor, is sadly no longer with us, who plays Ash.
So when did he film this then? A couple years ago?
No. He died before they shot this. This is what I'm saying. This raises some interesting ethical questions.
That's what I was wondering when they shot this.
No. Ian Holm died, I think, about let's just get this correct. But Romulus was shot in the last 2 years max. It was Ian Holm died in 2020, so he died in the middle of the pandemic, right? This movie was shot after the pandemic. It wasn't shot during or before.
Oh, wow.
Right? So now that doesn't mean that it wasn't in development, and that doesn't mean that he may well have signed on the dotted line and said, yes, it's okay. I'm quite happy to have my likeness as Ash used, and I want the fee to go to my family. And he's got 3 children.
Yeah.
So I didn't know that he hated milk, much to his discomfort. I had to repeatedly gargle and spit it out during his final scene in Alien. That's quite funny.
Yeah, it does say, Lance, that principal photography started taking place in March 9th of 2023.
Yeah. So I'm guessing what happened was they would have approached the family, aka the estate of Ian Holm.
Yeah.
So for anyone who's, it is a spoiler, Ash kind of makes a return in this movie, sort of. I don't want to give too much away.
Yeah.
Good to see you, Bush McFadden, and I appreciate the 14 people who are watching.
Well, his character's called Rook, so it's not actually. He's just another.
No, he's the same model.
Yeah, exactly.
Because he actually says that model number. So
Yeah.
he's the same model. He's got the same programming. So he's just another version of Ash. Okay. But yeah, I mean, that does raise the question: how ethical is it? Because he's all done with AI. It's all AI. And they've got his voice, and I mean, it could have been Ian Holm performing. It really could. It could have been Ian Holm reading all those lines. It absolutely could have been. And I don't think that they went to him with an early version of the script when he had Parkinson's designs and disease, and said, "Can you read this, please?" I can't see that happening. So he passed away. Romeo passed away, and but I mean, it's interesting because it does bring up that whole issue, doesn't it, of use of likeness and everything. I mean, obviously it would have been approved because they could get sued by the family quite legitimately if it wasn't. Okay, so I mean, I'll tell you what my biggest gripe with this film is. The young lead, Callie Speeney, she's an okay actress, but I didn't really feel invested in her.
No.
We meet her very quickly. We're quickly told she wants to get off this shitty job. We don't really know what her job is because we haven't seen her do it. I felt like we should have had a scene where we saw her kind of daily life a little bit. She's got a synthetic for the brother who's kind of slightly dysfunctional, and was given to her by her dying father to make sure she had someone to look after her. And but apart from that, it's like, okay, so what? And I'm like, why do I care? Why should I care about this person? And I really wasn't invested in her. Now, I was hoping I would get more invested in her as the movie went on. But she's kind of surrounded by a bunch of annoying people. Hi, Ryan Randall. You come over from Drinkers. That's very kind, mate.
Yeah, Jacob said if you want to send it to Link, he'll hop on.
Yeah. Do you want to? Can you whack it over to him? You've got him on your Twitter, haven't you?
Let me check.
So first of all, the lead character, your young Ripley, if you like. All the characters in Alien, even though some of them annoy you a little bit, you kind of like them. You kind of care about them. They're kind of a cohesive unit. In this film, they're not a cohesive unit. They're quite annoying. Some of them are quite selfish. Some of them are extremely irritating. So straight away, this team of characters that I was introduced to, and I could almost go, you're going to die first, then you're going to die, then you're going to die. And honestly, I was completely right in my running order of people that are going to get killed. I just didn't care about any of these people. I didn't give a fuck about any of these people. I also felt the plot hole of no one else detected this thing but them was nonsense. That's utter bollocks. This is a Weyland-Yutani planet. They're going to have their own satellites, etc. They're going to have their own kind of gateway station. It was a very heavily populated planet. It's not an outpost. This is a major mining colony with thousands of people living there.
Yeah.
Probably tens of thousands of people. I can't remember I think there's a sign that comes up with the population number, and it's in the thousands, many thousands. Yeah. So I just thought that's nonsense. So I was actually expecting when they boarded that there was going to be, shortly after their arrival, a Weyland-Yutani unit was going to turn up, and they were going to have to kind of hide from them and shit like that. And so there were going to be some bad guy human protagonists on board the ship, instead of the guy who's earmarked as red shirt annoying man number 5 is exactly that. There was no nuance to his character. He was just an annoying asshole. And I just thought, I don't care about any of these people. I hope, let's get rid of them. Let's get rid of them, which is not what you want in an alien film. And then there was also a lot of things on it that didn't really make any sense. I think Alien Isolation would have made a great film.
Oh, 100% agree. That's eventually I'll stream that game, but yeah, that game is amazing.
I mean, somebody could make a really good fan film of that, probably, with not huge expense, and
yeah, you're right.
And it'd be successful. Do you know what I mean? It's just giving me an idea. I should probably not say anything. The problem is they've clamped down on all that stuff now, so you can't make fan films anymore, not without getting sued.
Sucks, man. I've seen some fan films on YouTube. You have as well. Some fan films on YouTube are better than $200 million films I've seen. It's disturbing sometimes.
I think the quality of the acting in this no one was terrible. Some of the characters were very poorly written, but I wasn't invested in anyone really, and I found the plot with Andy interesting, and then it got to a point when it was really annoying. They kept playing around with the back and forth thing with him, and I felt like I was in Indiana Jones 4 with Ray Winston. I'm a good guy, I'm a bad guy, I'm a good guy, I'm a bad guy.
Yeah.
Jacob Ironside's in the house.
Well, there's to the credit to Lantwing, there is a little bit of an explanation why that's happening for.
No, I know that, but I just that was fine. I know why it happens, but I just was like, just you've kind of given us a big idea. You need to kind of run with that, really. Hi, Jacob. How you doing?
Hey, not too bad.
Have you seen the film yet?
No, but it's been pretty spoiled with all the stuff they released for it. So go ahead and feel free to talk about it.
Well, you can chuck us a question or two if you want. But I can hear your wife cooking, so you may need to mute yourself occasionally. I mean, okay, so we won't do rating out of 10 yet. We'll talk about it a bit more.
No.
But okay, let me be fair to the film. There are some good things. The good things are the aesthetic of the film is excellent. The sets are amazing. The sets are fantastic, actually. You can really see where the money's gone,
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Think sound design, all of that. Music is fine. It's nothing amazing, but it's a decent score.
It fits into the world of Alien, I think.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Totally. It felt like it deserved its place in the world. It felt believable in the world.
Was there a lot of inspiration from Alien Isolation?
Yeah, some little bits, not loads. It's more just taken lots of stuff from all kinds of different bits and pieces. Night Blibbity, thanks for popping in, mate.
Hey, buddy.
So the other things that were good were, as Blue mentioned earlier, they kept the technology the same. So the kind of computers that you see in Alien and Aliens are the kind of computers that are on this space station. The way the technology readouts are done are all that stuff is all the same. They've got a very similar opening to the first two movies, which I liked, but I didn't think they took that far enough. I'll get to a big spoiler. So the way that the alien turns up in this film is that the alien that got jettisoned into space, which by the way also ended up in front of one of the engines, and Ripley burned it. So
Yeah.
Just saying. Yeah. We'll forget that
they
happened.
actually really spoiled that alien being in this movie from the toys they made. The Nika toys they made for it.
The toys always spoil the damn movie every time. They've proven that.
Is there a range of toys for this film?
Of course there is.
Oh well, we'll get those. We'll get those up on screen in a minute. But the way that the aliens arrive in this film is that the alien that got jettisoned into space in the film Alien, we come across the wreckage. There's a pan through space and bits of wreckage come past the camera, and it's the wreckage of the Nostromo. And you've got the side plate of the Nostromo. And I wasn't sure if it was Nostromo or Sulaco. I was kind of trying to, but it's Nostromo. And then the kind of like a fossilized version of the alien that's also kind of formed its own cocoon around it is floating through space, and a ship comes across it, takes it into the science lab, and there's a whole big science team working on it in very poor security conditions. I noticed. I thought the security on this is bollocks, and that's kind of our pre-story. It's our sort of pre-beginning of our story sequence. It's a bit like a pre-title sequence in a TV show, and then we fast forward. I think it's 20 years or something like that, now we're on the Weyland-Yutani planet, and this space station that the fossilized alien ended up on, which obviously things have gone to shit on that space station, has blown out of its original orbit and has now come into the orbit of this planet. And again, that's where we have our first major plot hole, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Weyland-Yutani didn't notice this thing coming into the planet, but the kids did. And how is it that these kids own this kind of mining shuttle as well? That kind of didn't really. They own their own ship, but they can't afford to get off planet. I don't know. That was all a bit.
Yeah,
must be easier ways to
that's supposed to be the time frame, Lance. You said between, because Sigourney Weaver Ripley was just in cryogen for 57 years, so this is roughly 20 years between Alien, Alien 2, or Alien. So this is like Alien. This is like Alien 1.5, basically.
This is before the events of
Aliens,
and it's before the shake and bake colony's been set up on Weyland on the planet. Forget the name of the planet. LV-46, isn't it?
Well, that's the whole point of the xenomorph. The xenomorph. That's why they call them, even in the first film, Ash, like the perfect weapon, because they don't need to breed. They can actually live out in space because they're so hard to kill. And that does play into like this one in a sense. They keep the lore the same, which Aliens, remember, they want to nuke the planet. No, we need to keep these things and study them as weapons. Like what? Of course, Ripley's like, you want to weaponize this freaking thing, and yeah, they do.
Yeah, I mean, there are some really good visuals. There's some good special and practical effects, like Blue said, and the aliens, when you see them, especially up close, look really good. Facehuggers, the way they move and everything, look really good. But I think they pushed the life cycle of the alien thing a little bit as well. Like, from facehugger to chest burster happening is at least a few hours in established alien lore. Now it's anywhere between 5 and 20 minutes, which feels a bit, come on.
Because the first one, John Hurt, well, I mean, that was pretty fast. Well, I mean, in terms of the film, but like once it's on his face.
It was on his face for quite a while, few hours. Gotcha. Then it fell off his face, and they went and searched for it, and it died, and he was still unconscious. Then after another period, he regained consciousness, and then he went and had a meal with them before going into cryo, and then the thing came out. So it just I don't like the way they speeded that up just for the sake of the plot. I thought that was a bit naff.
Yeah,
but I mean, I was asked on Drinkers Open Bar where I put this in the line of Alien movies. The funny thing is, I completely forgot about Alien Covenant. It's like that Alien film doesn't really even exist to me because it's just so terrible.
Yeah.
So So I put this. So my order of favorite Alien films are Alien and Aliens are tied. I don't think one is better than the other. I think they're both equally good for different reasons.
Yeah, I agree.
The director's cut of Alien 3 after that, which I give like a 6 out of 10. Give the other two both 10 out of 10. And then
Resurrection.
Alien Resurrection.
Oh, boy.
Would come after this. I put this is better than Alien Resurrection, I think.
Yeah.
But they did the same thing that they did in Alien Resurrection. I couldn't believe it in the last third. So everybody, so we're doing a big spoiler now for the 29 people watching.
I could see the final half hour is will definitely make or break people. That's
okay,
what's going to show off.
This is a big spoiler. We haven't lost anyone. Oh, okay, one person's gone. So at the end of the movie, there's a woman who's pregnant, and instead of her having a regular baby, she has a kind of a Prometheus-like baby.
Yeah.
An alien black goo hybrid. And this thing comes out, and it's like one of the guys from Prometheus, but with alien bits on it.
Yes.
First of all, it looks a bit stupid. Yeah, because we had this alien hybrid. We had this alien hybrid human before in Alien. What was it? Resurgence, or what's the fourth one called again?
Resurrection.
Resurrection, right?
Yeah.
We had this hybrid in Resurrection. The hybrid in Resurrection is one of the worst things about it. It looks fucking terrible. It's like a man in a cheap monster suit. And then you have that stupid scene where it kind of gets sucked out the ship, and
I remember that. It's like, Mommy.
Yeah, and all its insides pulled out. I mean, that was of itself. That could have been a cool death of itself if it had been like an alien that happened to, and you kind of seeing all the insides of the alien getting sucked out into space. But it wasn't. It was just So there are some. The word Prometheus gets mentioned in the film.
Yep. Glad you caught that. Yeah.
That was one of the worst bits in the movie for me was get away from her, you bitch.
Come on, you had to say the thing.
Oh man, and I just like groaned. I was like, no.
As soon as he said it, I'm just like, oh, they had to. He said that thing I recognized from 35 years ago. Yeah.
It was just like such a member berry line, and I was just thinking, why don't they just have their own cool line for that moment? You know, don't mess with a fucking synthetic, you know, you bitch, or something a bit different, but with the you bitch on the end would have been funny. But
so
did you like the explanation?
A queen?
No.
There's no queen.
No. Well, there is an explanation. I'm not sure if you want to give it away. Let's talk about, but like how this comes to be. The character Rook, because remember Ash is dead. Rook does explain what's going on, which I'm like, I mean, it's science fiction, science fact. I mean, we have to study these xenomorphs because humanity is dying and humans are fragile. So what if we start studying xenomorph DNA and we can extract it and make humans better? Remember they show a rat. They're
trying. They discover within the material of the alien that there's a certain thing that's pure that they're trying to extract and replicate and basically then embed into human DNA. That's the plan. So to propagate our species into a super species, basically Nazi experiments all over again. And that is explained, and that's fine. I don't mind that as a backstory because we already know that the company in Alien want this thing. And all other priorities.
They've done that in the comic books too.
Yeah. So, when they access the records of the space station basically were trying to. That's what they were trying to do, but the alien broke loose and it started killing everybody. They actually find the body of the alien it's got a grappling hook through the middle of its still, and that's the one that Ripley fired through it, if you remember.
Yeah,
and it's still in the body. I thought that was kind of they actually obviously managed to shoot it and kill it, and its acid burned through the station and probably caused a big problem. It is it's the alien from Alien that starts all this. The alien from Alien is actually dead at the beginning of the movie, but it broke out into the station. They had a whole load of other.
Yeah, because technically Ripley didn't kill it in Alien. I mean, it got sucked out of the airlock, but it wasn't dead. And that's why it was so fast.
I mean,
it was alive though.
You can argue that it was burned on the jets, but yeah, okay,
still,
whatever.
They're hard to kill.
Yeah, I mean it's just sort of...
somehow Palpatine survived. But yeah, I mean, I did like the science.
What's going on with your keyboard here, buddy? What's going on with your keyboard here?
Yeah, they're hard to kill unless you have some caseless ammo.
Yeah.
So well, she does actually. Our lead character does get a pulse rifle ultimately, and the version of the pulse rifle that she's got is actually better than the one that the Marines have. And there's a line where she says to her friend who gives it to her, "How do you know so much about this?" And he just says playing video games. I kind of thought that was kind of cool.
Also magazines. Video games.
Yeah, reading games magazines. He said, yeah, reading magazines and playing video games.
Exactly. That's the point, man. I play Call of Duty all the time. I'm just as good as any Marine or any hardened sniper because I play Call of Duty.
Of course you are. Of course you are. I'd love to see that put into practice and see how that works. But so she learns to use this gun. This gun is better than the ones they have in the Marines have, but that works because this is a weapons. It's a weapons lab. It's a part of the weapons division for Weyland-Yutani. So they would have the latest gun.
And they do say that actually this gun has auto aim, and it's not actually her firing. The gun's doing 95% of the work. All she
because it's tracking the targets, isn't it? Yeah. So it explains it. It's all fine. Hey Nix, how you doing? Indeed. Yeah, you'll have to see the film to.
There was one visual.
So it's basically a mini version of the smart gun.
Yeah.
It's a pulse rifle. It's the same as the pulse rifle. It's got a bigger magazine.
Well, the smart gun does that. It tracks your target.
There you go.
Yeah. Lance, you remember there is one scene though with the zero gravity and the acid blood. I thought that was a cool scene though.
So there's a scene, again, we're getting into spoilers. This is a big spoiler. The best action scene is the aliens are all coming at her. Zero gravity goes on, so they're all floating and they're all suddenly floating. So they're sitting ducks. So she wastes them all. So all the acid blood is also floating around.
Yeah.
And then they have to kind of get through. They have to move through zero Gs and avoid getting burnt by that blood. I think there was an opportunity lost there that if there had been more characters still around at that point, somebody could have got killed.
Actually, Brewster isn't it? That to the
no, there isn't.
They never mentioned that. Yeah,
there's none of that. There's no social messaging. I mean, it's a fairly, eclectic mix of characters. You've got a couple of white dudes, both of whom have got red Star Trek vests on. There's a kind of Hispanic girl, an Oriental girl, and a white girl, and a black guy. So
yeah. Which is no different than Alien. Alien had different.
Yeah, and so there's no social messaging. So I will give the film props for that. And the basic story is okay. I just think, I think they were probably thinking, well, if we've only got 6 actors and we need a couple of other people to do some aliens, man, with our casting budget, and if we go with largely unknowns, which they have. Of a 100 million budget, that's less. We're under 10 million on the casting, so I don't think they spent more than 10 mil on the cast, and significant amount of budget on production design, CGI, space effects, and stuff.
I mean, I would wager, Lance. Probably the bulk of the CGI, from my money, went to Ian Holmes, like the digitizing his voice and mocapping like an actor.
He definitely that definitely would have been a significant fee there for the rights to his face.
Yeah.
I just remember that I just got an alien toy that I'm going to show you guys.
Yeah, because like it's like saying Jacob into the chat, like the face huggers when scurrying, I watch all behind the scenes. Like they actually were building animatronics, like building basically like not toy cars, but like little remote controls, all face huggers. And when they're walking, you can see they're actually there. And the xenomorphs, all of them walking, they're all guys in suits.
Yeah. Check this out. I got this off of
cool.
eBay. Hang on, I'll see if I can go big here. Got this off of eBay. I think it was these are Hero-Click models. There's a set of Predators as well. I've always wanted them for like doing a board game at a games convention or something like that. But I like the figures because the figures are kind of mounted on stuff. They're kind of cool. They need a bit of dry brushing, I think, the aliens. Yeah, no, Ian Holm was not alive, Bill, when this was made. We were mentioning that earlier, and no doubt.
Yeah.
Rights had to be paid. Yeah, so I mean, there are a couple of scenes that are really cool, but I think the problem with it is that the basic story of a load of kids grabbing the ship and going up to this thing that no one else has detected, that just simply wasn't believable for me. I think it would have been better if these kids who worked on this planet had some certain skill sets that were required to either access this station or something needed to be repaired on the outside. The Weyland-Yutani people could get inside, or for some reason, some of these characters had to be brought up with the kind of the professionals. And or like I suggested earlier, it would have been better if once they got up there were some other people that had also arrived at the same time, some Weyland-Yutani people. There's no way no one else on this massive colony would have noticed this thing. You could have seen it from the ground, when all the lights popped up on it and everything.
That's weird.
I mean, you think of the technology that we have now, radar and whatnot. It just is, it's just a bit. Boosh mentioned something very important. We've got to talk about the Faragil jaws. There's the guy who designed the alien Geiger. He was very into the alien is a big penis. It's all, you see him in interviews. They say, it's a big penis and plow into the earth of the Mother Earth, vagina of Mother Earth, and all this. And he was always sort of talking about that kind of stuff. And there's some proper symbolism in this that's very in your face. There's some very vaginal alien type stuff going on.
Oh yeah.
And I was a bit like, whoa, okay. Well, I did the whole life cycle thing, like the way that the engineer hybrid alien, if we're going to call him that, turns from supposedly a human fetus to.
And you see it coming a mile away, Lance, because the setup, it's like, hey, listen, because Rook is like, we've been studying this thing. We found a way to have these vials. We need to study it. And the one woman who's pregnant in the whole movie, she's injured and she's dying. If only she had some magical syringe that would heal her.
Yeah.
Know? And once she puts it in her neck, you're like, oh, we know where this is going.
Yeah, because at first she says no, doesn't she? At first she refuses. She doesn't trust him.
No, it was actually Rain, the main character. She's like, no, I don't trust it. But then she gives her the vials, and she's like, hey, go by yourself, go into cryosleep. And what she does is she injects herself.
Yeah.
And that's leading up. And of course, that's when the Prometheus baby pops up, and you're like, yep, I seen that coming.
Yeah, that all happened so quickly. I just don't believe that cycle would be that fast. And it's all just
definitely.
She's not noticeably pregnant. She hasn't got even a small bump. So,
and boy, that bump in the 5 minutes she was in cryosleep, she went from like 2 months pregnant to 9 months pregnant, and then of course, 5 minutes later, it was a fetus to a full 10-foot grown man hybrid in 5 minutes. Like these things grow, dude.
Yeah, I wasn't sure about that. That was kind of, again, we're pushing the whole life cycle seems to just all happen a bit fast.
They're on steroids.
Got a question from Ryan Randall. By the way, I appreciate the 32 people watching. I did say I had a few people come over from Open Bar. If you've come to the channel for the first time, thanks very much. Do check out my industry interviews where I interview people from the industry and there's a whole load of them on there. There's 72 now. Here's a question: Should the first Alien film should be watched? I think you're asking which Alien film should you watch first, and does it not matter on the rest of the franchise? Thanks for acknowledging my comment, by the way. Definitely earns a subscribe. Bless you.
I would watch Alien and Aliens first.
Yeah, I would do Alien, Aliens, and then if you must watch the director's cut of Alien 3, I wouldn't bother with any of the rest, including this one. Sorry, but it's not good. I mean, this isn't good enough to be in my Blu-ray collection, and I want an Alien film that's good enough to be in my Blu-ray collection. You know. It doesn't have to be as good as Aliens. It doesn't have to be as good as Alien. It just needs to be a good Alien movie with characters that do things that make sense. And I know we all do stupid things in life. Don't get me wrong. I'm not asking the characters to be perfect. I'm just not on the side of the humanity in this film. I'm kind of more on the side of the aliens. I just want all the people to get killed.
Except for Andy. I liked Andy though.
This is fourth best. Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
That's to
the resurrection after this, then Covenant, which I'd even forgotten existed.
Oh God. Prometheus. Well, same thing, Lance. Like Prometheus had Fassbender. Fassbender was trying his ass off in the movies, man. It's like terrible films, but at least Fassbender was trying to give it his all.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean there were some individualistic good things in that film, but they just didn't hold together at all. I didn't care about anyone.
How would you place this in the design of the set and the special effects and stuff?
Oh, the special effects and design and all of this are definitely they're first class. In fact, this film has probably got the best design sets of all of the movies. I would argue, the sets are really good. There's more of them, they're more complex, they're more detailed. Plus, you've got the big opening at the beginning. So the sets in this are easily on par with Alien and Aliens, if not better.
Even the ships too, Lance. The ships look like they came out of Alien. Yeah.
Everything's really good. Thomas has said the same thing, and I assume Thomas, you've seen the film. When I saw how close that station was to the planet, my immediate reaction was the question, how is that thing out there drifting and floating so close to the planet and nobody's bothered? I mean, exactly, because also even in a planet with rings and shit around it, a station of that size, if it collides with those rings and then it breaks up, some of that debris is going to come down onto the planet. Some of it will, for sure. So, like you don't want a big chunk of a space lab. I mean, apart from anything, Weyland-Yutani are a very selfish company, and they're all about salvaging things, right? So first of all, it's not believable that they wouldn't have detected it. They would have detected it, then they would have also sent up a team to it to reactivate it, stabilize it, and salvage it so it didn't crash into the rings. Or they would have sent a team up there to strip it of everything it had of value very quickly. So quite a big team, everyone that was available. And actually, do you know what? There's a good plot right there. Haven't got the top people available because they thought this station was lost. Suddenly it comes into the orbit of this planet. This planet has got a really minimal scientific team because it's not scientific value. What you have got in abundance is loads of miners and grifters and blue collar workers, right? So what you're going to do is you're going to send up that thing. You've got to send up a team that's got a really small science and security team on it who are trying to keep everything else secret, and a whole lot of other people that are going to go up and strip out all the other sort of less important shit. And catastrophe occurs because there's still live alien species on board and they get out. Seeking God's Will, the actress who played Rain did a great job with every scene and every line. I loved when she said "die motherfucker" at the end. That's the best line from this movie. Did she say that?
Yeah, she did. Yeah, after she killed the Prometheus baby, because
sorry, you're talking about the other alien. Yeah, the stupid alien.
Well, remember, because its tongue was cracking her helmet, and she's die motherfucker. Like,
I mean, she was. I don't know if Seeking God's Will is being sarcastic or not. She was fine. She was perfectly fine. She was decent.
It is. It's like you can tell she's no Sigourney Weaver. It's just that's how it is. You know.
I think this is slightly better than Alien Resurrection. I would say on the poo rating. And thanks for that down pat. I'd say it's slightly better.
Yeah, I would watch this again over Alien Resurrection because that's got so much horrible shit in it. Because, like you said, there's parts we can cherry pick that.
Yeah.
I mean, Lance, I would even say that the right person, like, this is 2 hours. I guarantee you can make a fan edit and shave off a good fucking half hour and make it.
You could easily trim 20 minutes off of this, and it's a shame that. And good to see you, Mr. E. Thanks for popping over from Open Bar, much appreciated. It's not like you'd miss loads of character development because the characters are so neon signposted. Like annoying arsehole guy, we find out is romantically linked to cool pilot woman, but there isn't much to set that up before they go up to the ship, and I feel that should have been established. And I feel that annoying arsehole guy, we should have seen him do something redeemable as well, because Bill Paxton's character in Aliens is an annoying arsehole, right?
Yep.
He's a full of himself, overconfident, annoying arsehole. He ultimately redeems himself. He goes down fighting like a badass, right? There was a scene, and you'll know the scene I mean, where one of the less annoying arseholes is about to die, and he's kind of almost got his gun in reach, and I thought he was going to go down fighting like a boss. I thought he was going to do a kind of a Gorman, grenade thing, and it just didn't happen. And I was like, why did you set that up and then not do it? It just sort of felt really lame. Oh, hey, mate, I remember Pigs in Space. Do you know what Pigs in Space Aliens ripoff would be? I'd watch that. I'd watch that, man.
Tomas says, he's like, why was Andy put into hypersleep?
We've got 40 people in. Got 40 people in. Okay, so the first person who can tell me what movie this is from in chat, you win a cookie. Okay, what movie was that? This is a precursor to my movie quiz, which I'm going to be running in the not too distant future, which is live on the channel. 2 teams compete it out for a huge sum of money. But the fun thing is the chat, the people in the chat can also participate at the same time, and you can play against the players in the movie quiz. So guys, look out for that on my channel. That's going to be coming soon. And Jay Goodwin is first, with the final option, also known as Who Dares Wins in the UK, to use the original title from Gary Bando's Sandwich Worthington Smythe. So it is a British film. Yeah, absolutely, because there's a British channel. So, 3 Days of the Condor is a great movie, by the way. Seeking God's Will. I love that film. Very good film. It's not from Alien 3. No. There's no helicopters in Alien 3. Yeah, so anyway, where were we? Sorry, where were we?
I like what Downpat said. Can this franchise recover from this? Well, it can, and I still am naive enough to think that anything can be recovered. Because we've seen Alien Isolation, that video game. What if that was a movie?
I want to see listen, if being a director, I'd love to get called into an office at 20th Century Fox and say, okay, Lance, you said you'd like to do an Aliens Predator movie. What do you want to do? And I just say to them, well, if you go and look at the Dark Horse Aliens versus Predator original story that came out, I think it was probably came out about 1990, maybe 89.
I'll look at it
now. Yeah, I've got it actually. It's in the shed, but I've got it. And I think I've got the original issues. And I've also got the they did a graphic novel a bit like a big book, and I've got that as well.
1989.
There you go. I said 89 or 90, didn't I? Original. And that story in that is really good. It's a really good comic. It's a really good story. It's got really good artwork. It's really well visualized. And hang on, I'll get some pictures of it up here. And there's another one. There's an Aliens one that's set on a space station that's also really good, which is just Aliens. But this Aliens versus Predator, the original, which the basic story is that the Predators land a load of. They've got a ship that lands eggs on planets, and then the Predators come to that planet to hunt the aliens, right? And this particular ship, I think, goes off course and isn't supposed to land on this planet. It's because the Predators don't put the aliens on planets that have got other sort of intelligent life forms on. That's not part of what they do. So the hunting team of Predators goes down to start hunting the aliens, and meanwhile you've got this farming colony. It's a farming colony, and they've got these huge herds of these things that are like buffaloes, and the meat and the hide from these things is very valuable, as are the canary birds that are employed to look after them. Basically what happens is this guy on his kind of jet bike accidentally discovers the Predators celebrating, and as he goes to try and escape, one of them shoots his jet bike. It veers off course, it crashes into their ship and destroys all of their ship and all the weapons in the ship. So the Predators now have no spaceship, no way of getting off the planet, and they're limited to the stuff they've got on them at the time. And that's quite a good setup. And then towards one of the Predators gets injured, and the humans actually, and he's unconscious, and the humans actually bring it back to the base, and they try and heal it, and that Predator actually sort of earns the respect of one of the women, who, because the Predator sees that woman kind of do some really cool shit. The woman who's in charge of the base, I think there's a scene where he takes an alien finger and uses it to mark her forehead, because of the acid, the little bit of acid that's in it. I think personally that might have burned a big hole in her head, but it is very good. It's good, guys. If you haven't
remember that was the first movie they tried doing that in the film, where the black chick, he scarred her head.
Oh yeah. Well, there's the deets about it. You can read about it here. Yeah, it's good. I liked it. They did a whole load of others. I mean, there's all kinds of different ones, but the very first one is well worth seeing. And so
and then there's all the Alien Predator crossovers that you can read. There's like a Superman and a Batman.
Yeah, I was never keen on the superhero Alien Predator crossovers. I didn't mind Aliens Predator crossovers, and then there was just a whole lot of Aliens stuff. I've got Batman versus Predator. I've got that knocking around somewhere, but I don't want to see a Batman versus Predator movie. I mean, do we need that?
No,
I don't.
No.
Yeah, Thomas put this right, and I feel your pain in your capitalization, Thomas. It's terrible. They picked the worst thing that everybody complained about in Alien Resurrection, which was dumb alien at the end, and they basically did a different version of the same thing. It's like, and yeah, I mean, it looks okay, but I just don't want to see that. And I don't want that to be the climactic ending either. Keep it an alien.
Oh, I found her name, Lance. Her name is Michiko Noguchi. She's a human that was actually hunting with the Predators.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, the administrator. Yeah, her character's really cool. She sort of earns her.
Yeah,
she earns her girl boss. She's not good at everything when you meet her. She's a politician. She's trying to keep the people that run the colony's all divided into factions, and you've got the people who manage the herds, who are like the people that look after the cows, basically. Then you've got the farmers who grow the food. Then you've got the people that run the station and run the power and all that kind of thing. And then you've got the people, the off-worlders, who are visiting to collect up the herd to take them off the planet. And that's actually the alien nest is actually built in their thing, and they're coming back from the celebration party. These two guys who tried to actually physically assault one of the women because they were drunk, and they pull down the thing, and the hatch goes up to the loading bay like that. They're staggering in it, drunk, and you suddenly see this kind of, you suddenly hear this kind of shh, and you just see the alien teeth, and they're sort of like, what? And then the thing comes down and it shuts behind them. It's so filmic. That would have been so good in a movie.
Yeah.
But if you haven't seen it, who else in the chat has seen Alien Romulus? And if you have seen it, what would you give it out of 10? What in the chat?
I mean, remember, Lance, everybody here, there was a time where we have no problem with strong kick-ass female characters because they were actually well written back in the 80s and 90s until nowadays.
I think all the characters in this, in terms of how good these characters are, is fine. But I'm just not on board with them. I just don't care about them. That was the big problem for me. Oh, mate, well done. You got that. Let me put that up. So this is when she's in her Predator gear.
Yeah.
So this isn't in the first comic. This is later. Her character comes back, I think, and or no, maybe she dresses up as a Predator at the end. It's so long since I've read it. I can't remember.
Too. It's that one.
Yeah, that's her. Yeah. So she's basically pretty hot sort of Oriental chick, with larger boobs than I remember from a graphic novel.
It's been a while.
But, yes, it has been a while. It's been a while. Okay, we've got some different thoughts coming in here. 5 out of 10 from Gary Banjo, Sandwich Worthington. Seeking God's Will. 7.7, not 7.5, 7.7. Love the lead actress and some of the moments. Not great. One of the worst Alien films, but still decent. Worst kills in the franchise. Okay. Well, I think you probably liked it more than I did.
One kill, this one guy, the acid was tearing his body apart. That shit I thought it was pretty cool.
That bit was, when his fingers all started.
Dude, that was, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there are some moments in it that are good, but I mean that character, that's Mr. Super Annoying, isn't it? That guy.
And I think too, like that was the hero guy, right? Yes, but I thought the xenomorph, the face hugger, that was when the chest burster, that looked very practical as well. Like her skin coming out, and then when you see it first hatch, that looked like a pure practical effect. When you first see the xenomorph, the baby one, it seemed like that was all just really good makeup.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. You're not gonna, for those people that are watching and haven't seen the movie, you're not gonna see the worst Alien movie ever by watching this film. You're not gonna come out the cinema screaming, but I don't think you're gonna come out of it applauding either. The stuff in space, and it's got some really big visuals. It does feel epic. They've gone for an epic look.
Ryan, I would say for me, because I would say with money we have, so Regal, we have $5 Tuesdays. I think $20, nah, but like for a $5 movie in the theaters, it's, you could do a lot worse.
Yeah. Well, I mean, $24 to see it in an IMAX in the UK.
That's what I'm saying. But for us, because we have like our Regal $5 Tuesdays, and if you spend $5 to see this, you'd fuck like, yes, $20 or might be a different situation.
Well, it's also, I'll tell you another bit that kind of confused me, and I guess I think I know the answer, but when Annoying Idiot number 2, whichever one it was, let's see if we can find him. And by the way, unfortunately, guys, Stephen Lang is not in this film.
Wow.
I wish he was. I love Stephen Lang.
Doesn't.
That would have upped it.
David Dalsmachian was at the premiere, and I was sitting in front of him and his wife at the June premiere. So this actor, Archie Renaud, who played like sort of good-looking, handsome, generic lead.
Yeah.
His character was really bland. Okay, the actor was fine, but the character there was nothing to the character.
Yeah.
So they get to the bit where they find the hive, and you've got all the secreted resin everywhere, and we know there's going to be bodies in there of the people from the space station and everything. And they go, "Oh, we've got to find another way around." and then he just sort of suddenly freezes, and then he decides to run through there. And I thought, have I missed something, or is he just being really dumb, or is it just that he's decided we don't have time, so I'm going to run through here? It wasn't set up that for me effectively that no, they've got to go this way. There's no choice. It just sort of that didn't really happen. Did I miss something there? Did I miss something?
No, I mean, just like you said, he froze and turned around, and
yeah, he froze and turned around, and then they right, we're going to find another way, and then he just goes for it, and I just sort of was, why is he doing that? Because he knows he's going to get killed if he goes this way. So I think at that point they had like 30 minutes to get off the station or something. It wasn't like there was 3 minutes to go and there were red lights flashing everywhere. Again, maybe I need to watch it again, but I don't particularly want to watch it again. It just felt a bit naff. Yeah, even Seeking God's Will, who gave it 7.7, says it running through the hive were unbelievable. It didn't really, I
thought in a small detail on Joe Lance, because members saying, okay, the face huggers, how do they detect us? They detect your body temperature. What's a good way to be invisible? Or just raise the temperature in the room. So
yeah,
I mean, it wasn't a big detail, but just small things. And he's like, hey, listen, don't sweat, don't get nervous, because your body sweat is your body's way of cooling itself down. Once you start getting sweat and get nervous, the face huggers, they're gonna notice you, and all of a sudden, oh shit. And those little fuckers were aggressive.
It's funny as well, right? Because you have to ask this question: how the fuck? Because facehuggers, they come from eggs, right? So
yes.
This space station retrieved the Ripley alien from space.
Mm-hmm.
At some point, they would have had to have kept it in some sort of containment environment so that it could do its thing with its eggs, right? Then they would have had to have somehow got these out of the eggs and frozen them and then put them in these things. How the fuck did they do that? Yeah. I mean, lots of people must have been killed in that process,
Yeah. Well, I mean, that was the whole point of Rook telling him. He's like, yeah, well, the space station was abandoned because everybody's dead. Because once they killed the xenomorph from part 1, and this whole process, it's like there was a full crew at one point.
Yeah, I mean, you can see like when they finally get to that main lab, there's like a specimen that's been partly dissected. It's dead. It's in sort of framework, isn't it? Yeah. And then then you see another one that gets out, that starts bashing at the glass, presumably because power fluctuations in the station mean that things. I mean, this setup for this room because they're taking out the thing that's keeping them frozen. Yes. So they all start overheating, which is why they come back to life. And I thought that setup was fine. I thought that was quite a good plot point. It kind of worked.
Oh yeah. As soon as those facehuggers start like basically unthawing, it's like that turns into a pure horror movie. And you're like, oh shit, you better run.
Somebody mentioned the first Ryan Drake novel. I have it on the shelf. It's right here.
Sure you do.
Redemption. It's really tatty because I've read it like a couple of times.
Ding, fries are done.
I did have the second one, but somebody whose name I won't mention ended up with that copy, and I don't have it now. So yeah. Oh man, now you've made me want fries. And it's 10 past midnight. It's too late to get fries anywhere around here.
That's what Adam does.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So.
Yeah. Like,
what are we giving this out of? What are we giving this out of 10?
Okay. I shared the image, Lance. You can tell too. That's like almost like an Alien 3 nod. Like there is like small little nods to the franchise, like that scene right there where she's going like this.
That's an Aliens nod, not an Alien 3 nod. That's Michael Bine showing Ripley how to use the gun.
So the image I shared, it's like that's almost like, remember when Ripley is pregnant and it's like up in her face.
Oh yeah. No. Sorry. You mean this still? Yeah. And there's another still.
Oh no, there's a still I'm sharing right now on screen if you want to check it out.
Yeah. I had it up earlier. That one. Yeah. It's a straight. Yeah. Very much so.
I mean, there is nods to the franchise. I'm not saying it makes it a great film, but like at least Fetty felt like he did a lot of homework. That doesn't mean he made the best script by any means, but it's not shitting on the franchise like other films do.
Well, I just couldn't believe that they used that line, "Get away from her, you bitch." I just when I did that.
It's almost like when Sarah Connor says in Dark Fate, I'll be back. Oh no. Oh.
I just thought from here on, from here on, I just thought the film's not going to be good. And actually from that point onwards, it was pretty bad. So it's almost like they banged a nail in the coffin at that point.
So like Aaron would say, at least they're trying. A wise man once said, the road to hell is paved with good intentions.
But look, I don't want to be unfair. There are some good things about this film. There are a couple of good action sequences. The acting is a mixed bag. Some of it you'll like, some of it you may not. But the production design, set design, costumes, visual and practical effects, absolutely all first class. The sound design. So there are a lot of things about the film that I did like, but they of themselves were not enough to make it a strong contender in the franchise. It's just an average Alien movie, as opposed to a below average Alien movie or a terrible Alien movie. I would say it's an average Alien movie. It's not terrible, but it's not above average. It's not good. And I didn't think we were going to get great, amazing. This is on par with Alien and Aliens. That's almost an impossible chalice. That's a poison chalice for any director, That's why I said if I got invited into a meeting and they said, "Okay, Lance, we want you to direct a film in the Alien or Predator franchise. Here's some scripts," I'd be like, "I don't want to read those. I want one of the Dark Horse ones. I'll adapt it. I want to do this Dark Horse story, and we're going to do it almost frame for frame as the comic, and people are going to like it. Trust me, people are going to like it." Or do the William Gibson Alien 3 film was really good, and there's a great version of that on YouTube. Hang on, let me see if I can find it, guys. It's so good.
I still want the damn director's cut. You keep mentioning that, but you're not the first person to tell me that the Alien 3 director's cut's a lot better.
It is a lot better. It doesn't save the film, but it is a lot better. There's a lot more about it that makes sense. But on YouTube, someone has done this really good video, because William Gibson's script, it leaked. In fact, I saw it at the time. Alan Marks had a copy of it, and there's a version of it where someone's like animated it all, hang on, William Gibson Alien 3 Alien 3 screenplay, and it's they've done all these visual effects for it. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. And it's I don't know if this is the right video. Oh man, I wonder if they've taken it down. They might have taken it down. Have a look. No, because this is only 10 minutes. Oh, well, if anybody knows the link for it, let me know. Shout it. You might not be able to post it in the chat because you won't be a moderator, but if you know the link of it, tell me what to type in. But it's the whole thing is on YouTube. I sent it to Drinker actually a while ago, and it's like a 2-hour version of it, and it's just so good. Oh, I found it. I think. Oh no. This is a discussion. Let me see. No, there's lots of discussions about it because everybody's got their hands on it. But there is a really good version of it, and somebody's kind of animated different bits of the screenplay, and there's lots of visuals. Hey, we've got a guest all the way from Australia. He's a director of several feature films, including an absolutely cracking feature film called The Cost, which, if you haven't seen it yet, here's the trailer.
So let me ask you guys an honest question. Are you serious campers? Or are you just up here getting away from the missus and the kids? For me, it's a getaway. You married?
Hey, baby.
Not anymore.
This letting you know I'm on my way home now.
She was murdered. Troy Chapman, you raped and murdered Stephanie Baker. You were sentenced to 32 years. They let you out in 10. I'm her husband. I'm her brother. I have spent years planning every detail of this. She begged you to stop. And what's your boy? It's not too late. He still let me go. What makes you think we'd ever let you go?
Remember what he did to her. You keep that in front of your mind. This is justice, mate. And we're the only ones who can give it to her.
You do this, you will never be the same.
I love you.
You let him get inside your head, manipulating you.
So we haven't got time to show the whole thing, but the person who directed that movie is Matthew Holmes, all the way down from Australia, who's a good buddy of mine. Thought I'd show that quickly, Matt.
No worries.
Always a pleasure to have you on the channel.
Thanks, man. I only recently just woke up and saw your message, and I thought, well, I've got a little bit of free time this morning. I can jump on.
Just before I saw Alien Romulus, I saw you'd done a big post about it on my Facebook timeline, and I was like, uh-oh. And I saw you did the good, and it was the small list and the bad. And I thought, I'm not going to read any of it because I'm about to go and watch it.
Best to watch it yourself.
But, well, we've just been talking about it, and I have a feeling yours and my observations are probably similar. But, okay, so read out your good list first. What did you like about the film?
Well, let me just bring it up. So I won't read it verbatim, but I'll bring it up just so I sort of have a bit of a reminder. Look, I thought the world was good. I thought the visuals were good.
Yeah.
You know, the production was good. Like, it looked like the world of Alien. They used the same clunky computers, the dated tech, and all that. And so, and it was beautifully photographed. Unlike the Prometheus and Covenant worlds, which started steering away from that, and it did actually feel like an Alien film. So I felt like they got it aesthetically right, which was really nice to see.
Agree 100%. Absolutely agree.
Yeah, and lots of great practical effects. Although some of the face huggers looked a little bit like rubber puppets, but again, I don't care. I'm fine with that. So
I'll have a rubber puppet over a CGI any day.
I thought that was the good. I thought the acting was okay. Like, I wouldn't say it was terrific, but I thought it wasn't bad either. It was just sort of completely serviceable. Which sort of let me down because Alien films always have such splendid casting. You know, they always have the top tier actors. You know, and I feel like this has really taken it a step down and pushed it into like this teenage horror with casting a bunch of nobodies, and it just didn't feel right. Felt cheap doing that.
I felt that they should have had at least one heavyweight, and an AI Ian Holmes didn't cut it in that.
Absolutely. That was my thought. I thought that's where you put your Michael Fassbender-ish kind of actor. I don't know, get Daniel Craig or someone to play a robot. I don't know. And then just that's where you put him. But a CGI Ian Holm, I thought that was pretty janky. I thought as an effect, nah, that didn't work. And it also didn't have a lot of logical sense, because if there were lots and lots of these duplicate Ash robots throughout the world or the universe, how come the Nostromo crew never realized that Ash was a robot if there's all these duplicates everywhere?
That's a really good point, actually, mate.
It's because if every single ship has one of these asteroids, then why would they be so surprised? So
I suppose you could argue that model was kind of restricted to, you know, internal weapons division sections only, and that's why they sent one of those models to the Nostromo at the last minute. But, you know, guess you could argue that. I guess you could argue.
Yeah, but it just didn't. It felt a little bit too much like I was being pandered to for fan service sake, and that's probably one of my biggest hates of this film was the fan service pandering. It was just loaded with it. It was so self-aware of itself being in the Alien franchise, and it was so self-aware of the audience and so desperate to please the audience. It's like every 5 minutes it was nudging you in the ribs, going, remember this, remember this, remember this, and you're like, stop it.
Well, did you wince as loud as I did when they went, get away from her, you bitch? Oh, fuck me.
Yeah, I just rolled my eyes. I just thought, come on.
That was so bad.
I don't know. It was too. It's starting to border on parody, and I just thought this is. And the ending, like the right at the end, the last 2 minutes when she was doing the whole, this is so and so, last survivor of the so and so signing off. I was like, oh, come on, you haven't even written anything new here. At least, in Prometheus, when she signed off, it was at least her own thing. But this was a literal carbon copy, and I just, it felt really, really less homage and more rip-off. So,
by the way, Matt, Mr. E said that trailer looks amazing. I think he's talking
cool.
about you.
Thank you, Mr. E. I hope you get to see it. It was supposed to come out in the UK about 9 months ago.
He may well be States. Is it out in the States yet?
Not yet. It was supposed to be out in the States 9 months ago too. But there is some behind the scenes contractual issues that are being resolved at the moment.
Yeah.
Once they get resolved, it will come out.
Matt put that very tactfully.
Yeah.
So, it's a great film. I have seen it more than once, actually, because I got to see a very early cut as well as a finished cut of it. And I do recommend it. You're going to enjoy it as much as Alien Romulus, if not more, I would. So you kind of, I agree, the cast was adequate, but you really needed some heavy hitters there. We were banging ideas about earlier, and I said, this basic plot had a couple of massive plot holes in it. Number one, a size of this station drifting towards, and it's a Weyland-Yutani station, first of all. So it's a station owned by Weyland-Yutani, a very important weapons division station. It's drifting to one of their biggest colonies that's got thousands of people on it, and the whole world building for that colony was great. All those big scenes, big productions.
Yeah, it did look good.
That did look really good. But that establishes this is a big place, so it's going to have a big control tower with detection systems. I mean,
you would expect a bunch of Marines are going to go up and deal with that.
Well, not just that, but I think what should have happened is you should have had the Weyland-Yutani guys going up there, but these guys discover it first for whatever reason. They should have been up mining the asteroid field in their little ship. They should have been up there already, and we could have skipped through a whole load of nonsense, right? And they see it, they decide to go for it, but also Weyland-Yutani guys come up. So you could have had that kind of conflict between the two teams.
Oh, that would have been much better, because it really needed a bigger cast, I felt.
Yeah, it just and the cast
that would have been a much better idea to have two conflicting groups landing on it.
Two conflicting groups would have been really good, and you had the characters were just so generic. It was nice, good-looking guy, really annoying. Moody wanker guy who very belatedly at the last minute we realize is the girlfriend of the cool pilot lady whom we know nothing else about. All those characters were just all so bland, and
that's the biggest. And it was really just the bunch of teenagers going somewhere they ought not to, horror cliche. And they weren't any more more established than that, and that was the biggest problem. And I think that idea of a bunch of another group docking, and that on the the Remus side, and they dock on the Romulus side, and then they sort of end up meeting somewhere in the middle, and then they have to team together to survive the onslaught. It would have made it a far better, and it would have felt like a bigger film, because the cast was so small. So even though it's got this great spaceship and everything, the movie still feels kind of tiny. Whereas the cast of all the other Alien films always felt quite felt much bigger, except for the first one. But that's okay. That starts the thing. But you had all the Marines, you had all the prisoners. Even in Resurrection, which I freaking hate, at least you still had the pirates and you had all the military. So I don't know.
Yeah.
What did you think? Are we allowed to spoil the ending?
Oh, we've already gone there, mate. We've already gone there. So Big Dave K says, so if we wanted to support Matt, how do we get a hold of this film? I mean, apart from sailing the high seas.
Right. Well, you'd either have to be really, really patient. No. You have to be really, really patient and wait for it to come out in the UK, which could be several months. Or it can be, you can purchase a Blu-ray of it on eBay, which will work in a UK Blu-ray machine because Australia has the same region code. So if you really want to own a copy,
not in the US.
If you have to help sail the high seas, well, you have to sail the high seas. Just leave me a nice review, and then that's supporting me.
Yeah, there you go. So Big Dave is from the US. So Big D.
Right. Well, it'll be the same thing. It's coming. It's on its way, but it could be another 4 or 5 months before it comes out in the US. So,
but a really good way to support Matt is if you do watch the film before it's available in your country, do a review of it on IMDb.
Yeah,
or
Rotten Tomatoes or something like that, and that really, really helps push up my my score. So, and that is supporting.
He says it's available on iTunes. There you go. So he's going to get one from there. Look at that.
Hey, nice.
We're all very supportive of each other on this channel. So and Matt's got another. Matt's got another movie, a World War II movie in development right now, which fingers crossed looks like it's going to happen. We're hopeful, aren't we?
We are indeed. It's coming along in leaps and bounds. So we'll see.
Have you seen the trailer for the new Star Wars show?
Yes. I have seen that, and I wanted to knife myself.
Well, I did a live reaction to it. I didn't hate it as much as everyone else. I thought if this is kind of the Explorers meets Goonies.
I have no problem with someone wanting to make a film like Explorers meets something, but what the are you doing putting it in the Star Wars universe? Star Wars is just being ripped apart and undone. Star Wars, it doesn't tonally fit. Like if you were to put that alongside Luke, like Empire Strikes Back, how are these in the same universe? How are these the same tonally? How is this? It just doesn't fit. It's as egregious as making that in the Alien world. It just doesn't fit. That for me, I'm a purist. But then again, I'm someone who really only accepts that there's 3 Star Wars films. So
I quite like Rogue One.
Rogue One's one of those ones I'll let slip through the cracks because it's enough like the other ones to let it, and it sits between the 3.
Definitely.
So I'll let it slide, but anything prequel, anything sequel, and anything extended, and anything series, I'm done. So I'm certainly not going to get Skeleton Crew. It just looks like Disney's taking the piss now. So
another way you can support Matt is when the toy comes out of this character with the big snootus. Make sure you send Matt a big fluffy one of those.
That looks like Dumbo. That looks like the Disney Dumbo from the 1950s film.
Yeah,
I think it's supposed to be like one of the Max Rebo race. You know, the thing from Jabba's barge. I think it's the same race as that, isn't it?
It's like it just doesn't. It doesn't look like it belongs in the same world as Chewbacca. It just doesn't. It just. Nah, I can't. My eyeballs are gonna bleed.
Well, I was curious to see what you thought of it. I'm prepared to give it a go, but we'll see.
Nah. I said it would be great if they made one of these fun 80s kind of films, and I think what's the name? Stranger Things did a really great version of that in the horror world. And I think to do a sci-fi kids adventure that echoes Explorers is a great idea. Do it. Don't set it in the Star Wars universe. Anyway.
Bringing this back onto topic, what are we going to give this out of 10, guys?
I give it a 6.
Where do you put it, Matt, in the order of the Alien films in terms of greatness to shite?
I think I put it number 4.
That's exactly where I put it.
Yeah. I'm a huge defender of Alien 3, the assembly cut. I actually love that film. Yeah. So I actually have no problem with the original trilogy as it is. I like it. I love it, actually. I know Alien 3 doesn't reach the heights of the first two, but I still fucking love Alien 3. But I think it's Romulus, then Covenant, and then Prometheus.
Oh, okay. So you think this is worse than Covenant?
No, better than Covenant.
Better than Covenant, yeah.
It's number 4 in the list after the original trilogy, and then after that Covenant, and then after that Prometheus, and I don't count Resurrection in any list.
I was going to say, where does Resurrection come?
What is that? I think problem, my biggest problem with Romulus is that it shares too much DNA with Resurrection, and it commits many of its same sins.
Yeah,
but it commits them better. God. It commits the sins better than Resurrection did. Its baby at the end is are you kidding me? We did this in Resurrection, but
I can believe it.
But their baby was better. This was a better baby than Resurrection's.
But also this whole thing of it being a baby 1 minute, and then by the time she's climbed down to the lower level, it's a full size Prometheus alien hybrid. Because just come on.
Yeah, I think that is one of the big problems I don't like about the new films, which the old films never did, is that you really felt the passage of time in the old movies. Definitely. You felt the hours and you felt the days even, and that the creature was loose and could grow. Whereas in these, especially Resurrection and Covenant and Prometheus, ever since, all these things seem to happen in like 30. The whole film takes place in 30 hours or something.
Yeah,
and it just doesn't. It's too fast.
Well, this once they got on board the ship, this was almost in real time.
That's right, because they had that stupid countdown before it was going to hit the.
Yeah.
You know, before it hit the thing, and it's like, oh, come on.
And then the alien went into that vagina cocoon, and you had the big like vagina cocoon scene.
Yes.
Yeah.
As it grew, it's just, I don't know. It's frustrating because it's a really easy fix. All you have to do is just say, this thing's going to hit the rings in 48 hours, not 24 or something. I don't know. Just give the thing more time, and also it gives the characters more time to gel with each other and talk and so on. So
yeah. Well, so you give it 6 out of 10. I'll probably because I give Alien 3 Director's Cut 6 out of 10, so I probably give this a 5. I like some of the scenes, but the big problem for me, Matt, was I didn't care about any of the people in it. Oh, sorry.
No, that ultimately is my biggest problem too. Yeah. Just don't care about just.
Yeah. In fact, I was rooting.
They should have made us fall in love with them.
Yeah, I was rooting for several of them to die, and I actually think it would have been better if they actually all got on and they were kind of like a tight unit of friends that liked each other.
Well, that's what I thought. Absolutely, especially making that guy a wanker. That one of them was a real wanker, and I thought,
and that also didn't give the actor.
Make me love them.
Yeah, because
they're in a bad situation.
Yeah,
they're in that horrible colony where they're getting screwed over. Like, you could empathize with this crew quite well, and you could really get behind what they're doing, like their cause. But because they're just so immature and unlikable, or you don't know them, you don't get. I think if we fell in love with them, then they started getting diced. We would care more, and then there would be more tension. Because that's what I found. It was definitely the most horrific, but of all the aliens. But it was a flatline experience for me. I wasn't scared. I wasn't tense the whole time. I was just shoveling popcorn in, just sort of blankly watching people getting off, and I didn't care.
Did you get an alien popcorn bucket?
No, they weren't selling them at the one I went to.
Oh, mate, show him your popcorn thing.
You got a face hugger, or you got the alien?
They sold out of the facehugger one, so he didn't get to have the
Blue. No, I didn't.
Blue, you got your cup there?
Yes, it's rare. You got the what says?
Oh wow!
Yeah, it says airlock 5B at the little figurehead right there on top. So
wow!
Because they had the xenomorph popcorn tin, but they were sold out. And I'm like, I caught the first showing. I got there a half hour early. How are you sold out of the popcorn bucket, bastards?
Wow. You think that they would make a lot more and make more money, but
yeah.
Blue, what are you giving it? What are you giving it out of 10, mate?
Basically everything that Matthew said, and you said, Lance, I agree with. I'll stick with a 5 because, like Matthew was saying, as it's happening, I'm like, man, I'm getting Prometheus vibes, I'm getting Alien 4 vibes, but there is so much to respect with the aesthetics of it. Obviously, I would say Alvarez is a fan, and just said he's got good intentions where it's not overly CG, some CG, not messaging like 2024 does not like gay or trans characters or like girl bosses, no political messaging going on.
Yeah, that's true. I appreciate that.
Yeah,
there was none of that, which was good.
No, that's right. It felt void of any messaging, which was really good. And yeah, the practical was great. And you're right. He absolutely loves this world.
Yeah,
and I think that's what is surprising. He did so well in making it feel right for the world, and he got so much right because he clearly loves this. But how did he mess up the characters, and how did he mess up the cast?
Well, that's what told Lance before he came on. With this being a 2-hour film, and you know about filming, I would wager the right person, if you edited this film and took a good half hour off it, you'd have a lot better film.
Yeah, really.
I mean, it would, you know.
See, I would have actually gone the other direction. When the movie wrapped up, I kind of felt, you know what, give me 20 more minutes. But only 20 more minutes with these characters talking, get to know them, let me learn more about them, let me care. And then I actually would go the other way. I would actually prefer if this was a bigger film with more character stuff in it and longer. So it goes to like 2 hours 20.
Second team going in the
add more characters, put more layers into this.
Yeah.
Because you could have done
a
really cool action sequence would have been, you know, you could have had the rival team, like the Whaling Utani team, they've all got cool guns and shit. And you've got your teenagers team. And then, you know, they've got them sort of banged to rights. And then suddenly they see an alien like crawling along the ceiling at the top. And somebody says, look out. You know, they turn up and they shoot it. And then like, the fucking acid comes down. And then you could have had everybody going to zero gravity. And they're floating up towards where the acid is floating down. And you could have had people floating through it and it ripping their skin off as they're going through. I mean, that could have been amazing.
That would have been
I'm already thinking like a director. Well, we're going to wrap things up here because Matt's got to take his dog for a walk in a moment.
I've only just got up and I'm having my morning tea, so I've got a big day ahead. So
I do want to mention I've got a special guest coming in next Friday. I have cinematographer Roy Wagner is going to be with us, and he shot a couple of my favorite movies. He did Nick of Time with Johnny Depp, which is the film that's set in real time. It's a really good film.
Yeah, I remember that one from the 90s.
Yeah, and he also did
the guy that has to assassinate somebody. He's told.
That's right. Yeah, and Chris.
It's a cool idea. It's a really cool idea.
Very, very good film. He shot several episodes of Elementary, the very popular TV series. He's got about 90 credits as a cinematographer. These are some of the films that he's done. Also did 12 episodes of The Beast. That's the whole show, which was the last acting credit of Patrick Swayze before we lost him. 36 episodes of House MD. So this guy has
busy boy.
Earned his spurs, you might say. 22 episodes of Get Real. He's also done several episodes of CSI, including directing a couple of episodes of that, 10 episodes of Fantasy Island. Also DOP on Drop Zone, which was another big film from the 90s, although it wasn't a big
Drop Zone, that was huge.
Yeah, it was a big, because Wesley Snipes was at his height. He also shot
one of those films that's really dropped off the map. I mean, when do you ever see Drop Zone available on DVD, Blu-ray or DVD? Like, it's just one of those movies that's just sort of disappeared.
Well, I'm looking forward to talking to Roy. So don't forget, that's going to be Friday next week, guys. If you've got questions for Roy, pop in and I'll try and put as many to him as I can. Of course, we have Gail Ann Hurd, producer of Terminator, Terminator 2, Aliens. Doesn't need any introduction, really. The entire Walking Dead franchise. She's coming in to the channel, and I'm looking forward to chatting with her. We've still got people from Drinker's Stream popping in even now. Hi, Guy. We're just about to wrap things up now, buddy. But do go back and check it out. Thank you for coming on the channel. Check out the playlist. I've got several different playlists on my channel, but the meat of the channel is the industry interviews. They are from all kinds of creatives in the industry, some of them extremely famous, some of them just people starting out. So if you are somebody who's got a creative project, whether you're doing a comic book on Kickstarter or making your first feature film, and it's something interesting that I might be interested in promoting, get in touch with me and I may well get you on for an interview about your content, because the Outcasts Creative channel is all about supporting independent creatives. That's why Matt here has been on many times as a fellow independent film director, and you can see an interview with him and his cast of the cast. So guys, thanks very much for coming on. Matt, great that you got my message and you were able to pop on for a little bit.
Yeah, no worries.
I really do appreciate it. Don't forget, guys, I'm going to have my movie quiz coming up soon as well. 2 teams are going to battle it out, as well as also people in the chat can take part. I haven't set the date for it yet, but it's probably going to be a Sunday. We're going to be back doing Spartacus on Sunday, but we've lost History Bro. He's had enough of Spartacus. So yeah, which is a shame. But it's fair enough. If it's not his bag, then it's not his bag.
Don't force me to watch it.
Yeah, so thanks very much. Pat Mills would be a great guest. I've had the editor of 2000 AD, so if you go and check my interviews, you'll see the editor of 2000 AD from its golden era is there. So the guy who commissioned Judge Dredd, there you are. All right, guys, that's it from us. So thanks very much for tuning in. We will catch you all again real soon.
Ciao.